Hello and thank you for joining in the channel. Today we are reviving an old project which was the Junkyard build. So originally I built this box shape that you can see. I gave myself a lot of room because originally the build was supposed to be on a TRX4 chassis, and now I'm building on an axial smaller chassis. So this is the top of the body. This is like the cab that went on top of that box that I built, and I wanted this vehicle, this build, to be some sort of like a recovery type vehicle. But since right now I don't have the proper chassis for it, I decided to put that project on hold and move it to the scratch build kinda type. And this is what I started doing. So I had this body from a deadbolt, and I figured, why not do an actual junkyard build? What happens sometime in junkyard, they take the front of something, they add it to the end of something. It's like a off-road vehicle or something that could happen. So I start building the rear end out of wood, and I mean like the rear end of the body. I wanted to turn it into a truck. It's like somebody welded two things together that didn't belong to each other. And I wanted to get rid of a little bit of the racy part of the front of the truck. So I started also playing with the angles to keep it straight. So I had to build this offset situation there. I used just some like really thin, light pieces of wood between gluing some stuff. I try to stay away from screwing things too much, but except for where like the two body joints kind of together, it's a strong bond. But I am adding like a little bit of enforcement, since the wooden pieces that I used in the back are not, it's not like very strong wood or anything, but I wanted to keep the weight a little bit acceptable. And also now, as is, the body is a kind of weight biased on the rear end when you're just holding the body by itself. And that's of course not shocking, because you are joining, half the body is Lexan, the other half is wood. So I kind of decided finally where I want the end of the bed to be, or whatever that flat piece we're gonna use. And I cut the other little box that I made, and I wanted everything in the back to look rough, to look like it was something really sitting in the junkyard, and somebody tried to make it look a little bit pretty and just put it together. So the other thing that I wanted to do is, since I was planning on building a recovery, I wanted to make now a smaller like recovery truck. It doesn't have to be as capable as that big one that I was planning ahead of time. And then I start cutting these little pieces. As you see the tape there, I'm going to transfer the masking tape to a little cookie cover kind of plastic thing. Lexan type, and I'm gonna just cut it, and that was the roof, and I start cutting other little panels. In the meantime, parts are showing up. We see the front bumper here, metal front bumper, uh, also a rear metal bumper. I might put 2 winches on this vehicle because the big one, the boxy one, was supposed to have like at least 4 or something. But this one, I think we'll put 1 in the front maybe and 1 in the back. That will make it a little more capable and worthy of calling it a recovery, I guess. I kind of like these bumpers, and I'm excited. I can't wait to put them on. But I still haven't worried about these things because we still have a bunch of work to do to the body. So we can also put LED in a couple LED lights in these in this front bumper, so that'll be great. And of course we'll put some shackles and all that stuff, some D-rings and all kinds of things. We'll have that puppy ready to go on its recovery. So this is the rear bumper now, and it already has a tow hitch and a ball style ready to go, so that's great. We'll use that maybe to tow something eventually behind us, a little trailer or something. Now we have an excuse to make a trailer, because now my Land Rover and this one would have trailer hitches on it. What else are we gonna do? I think now it's time to go back and work more on the body. I'm not a scratch builder by no means. I just like to try things. So I start painting on the outside. I use this like tan kind of color, just from a spray can, and I gave it a couple coats of this color, just to get it a little thick, to get it a little, because you're not supposed to, I guess, paint Lexan on the outside, but I'm planning on making it look rusty and weather it, and that's another thing that I've done, like maybe on dioramas or stuff, but not too much on cars or trucks. So I'm a rookie at this. This is why this video is not about teaching you how to do anything. This is just sharing with you how I doing it at the moment. So and I use different techniques on different builds because I'm just trying to learn and see what works on what circumstances. So I've done little weathering on my tank, on some just like light work on off-road vehicles. This would be the first time I'm building an RC, planning it to look old and rough and something that was like dragged out of a junkyard. So now we're layering other colors. I might do a white after the yellow, and with the hope to scratch the body and get some of the layers underneath the layers to make you like kind of wonder what color originally this truck was. So like I mentioned before, I cut some panels. I still want to cut a couple more. I'm gonna use the cage that's on top of the deadbolt body as my way of building the panels for it, so it's again less racy and more of a truck style. Here I'm adding a whole bunch of things. This is the first time I use salt, mineral salt, like big chunky pieces of salt, and I used some stuff that I had from La Havo. I forgot the brand name. I can quote it later. So just more of yellows and whites, and then adding all these fragments and pigments to it while the paint is still wet, so it would stick to it. So I didn't use anything else to apply the salt or anything to the body. I just used the wet paint. Every time I sprayed a layer of that color paint, whether it's yellow or white, I added something, and I added it to the paint immediately so it will stick to the paint. It's a little bit messy, but I'm trying to make it look a certain way, and I'm not 100% sure what that way is, but that's the fun, I guess, is trying to make it look like itself. I'm not trying to copy anything. I stayed away from looking at pictures or anything. Normally I look at things to get inspired by. I didn't want to this time. So eventually I was able to create this crackle thing all along the whole body, and I think I'll eventually go and sand some of it off, but for the most part I want it to look like I meant to do it in chunks, and it turns out honestly like that, but this is more like it ended up like a crocodile leather kind of vibe, but it's great. I love it. I'm just gonna keep going with it. Keep adding colors, keep adding stuff to it, just to see where we're at. So I want to thank you for stopping by the channel, for checking out the build, and I will keep you updated. In the meantime, I bought way too many parts that I don't think I'm gonna be using, but it's better to have them because there's few builds on the go. I have few ideas, so might as well. So I will keep you updated, and I'll let you know how we're doing. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.